9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines we have: the capital crashed in the end of the unpredictable rain. At least 22 dead, suspected shooters actively searching in U.S. Welcome to our newsroom. Intense rain fell on the capital, taking many of its residents by surprise. The weather forecast predicted this devastating rainfall, but the magnitude of the resulting flooding took everyone by surprise. The first raindrop began to fall at around 3 a.m. yesterday morning, rapidly intensifying and causing massive floodings across the city. Residential areas, main thoroughfares, and even the industrial estate were submerged by the rising waters. From the first light of dawn, RTD teams were on the ground to see the extent of the flooded streets. The authorities reacted swiftly, mobilizing rescue teams as the torrential rains continued to fall. The images broadcast show the streets transformed into the veritable river, with cars completely submerged, making traffic difficult. The authorities are urging the public to exercise caution and strictly follow the safety instructions issued. These torrential rain are a reminder to everyone of the crucial importance of preparing for natural disasters and being vigilant about weather forecasts. Following a torrential downpour with a burst of thunders began in the middle of the night, the agents of Onad, precisely those of big work, were on the alert with the aim of carrying out operations to relieve congestion in the cities of Djibouti. The management of Grand Big Work has set up interventionist team to pump out the waters in certain areas badly affected by the floodings. The main arteries of the capital, such as Gashamale opposite Riyadh, the neighborhood 7, Makkah Mukarrama, Engela next to the dispensary, Engela opposite to the FMP Road, the school of the neighborhood 6, the outlet file, Casino, Salin West, Clinic Afi. It should also be noted that Onad is working to restore running waters in the various districts affected by the bad weather and to unblock the sewage pipes which were blocked by rubbish and other detritus. The head of the major works department, Mr. Ainan Musa Muhammad, pointed out that the rainwater pumping works had almost been cleared after heavy use. In response to the bad weather that hit Djibouti and caused floodings in many parts of the city, the Civil Protection Director, Colonel Mahmoud Musa Mahmoud, held a crucial consultation meeting at the Civil Protection Headquarters. His meeting brought together the sub-prefect of the 1st and 2nd District, the President of the Commune of Bulaus and Rastika, with the aim of coordinating an operation to relieve congestion in the cities of Djibouti. Following the heavy rains that spilled over onto the city's road, the fire brigade deployed large-scale operations to relieve congestion on Djibouti's main arteries. 11 large pump engines were deployed across the capital to target the worst affected areas, including the Gashamale School opposite Riyadh, the neighborhood 7, Makkah Mukarram, Engela, and next to the dispensary, Engela opposite to FMP Road, the school of the neighborhood 6, the file of Aulad, Casino, Salin West, and Clinic Afi. After the coordination meeting, the delegation led by the president of Bulaus and the civil protection Colonel Mahmoud Musa Mahmoud went into the file to inspect the various pump engines deployed in the neighborhoods. The aim was to see for themselves how well they were working and their ability to manage the large quantities of water that had flooded the streets. For his part, the Director General of the Civil Protection, Colonel Mahmoud Musa Mahmoud, said that this relief operation is a concerted effort to mitigate the effects of flooding and ensure the safety of people of Djibouti. The local authorities and civil protections are working closely together to ensure a rapid and effective response to this difficult weather situations. The people of Djibouti are encouraged to follow the safety instructions issued by the local authorities and to remain vigilant as flood relief operation continues. Community solidarity is essential to cope with these unpredictable circumstances. Police assistance to the public following the torrential rain that fell on the capital. The men of the National Police were mobilized through the morning of today to come to the help the many pedestrians trapped by the waters as the roads were badly affected by the rain. Public transport buses ceased all activity, leaving the populations on the roadside. All the necessary police and human resources were mobilized through the day. National police vehicles helped people to get home safely. Transport was provided from the town centers to the first district of the commune of Balbala. It should be noted that this is not the first time that the National Police has undertaken this type of activity. Interviewing on the national television, the Djiboutian who benefited from this assistance thanked the High Command of the National Police for this noble action in favor of our population. The weather situation in the capital and its region is characterized by overcast skies accompanied by rain in the form of intermittent showers. These showers can at times be moderated to heavy, particularly along the coastal areas and in the north. These weather conditions are the result of the passage of Tej and the convergence of the trade winds. The prevailing winds are generally moderate to strong, and it's important to note that their intensity can increase during showers. This means that caution is advised, particularly for outdoor activities and sailing. As a result, the sea could become due to these weather conditions. The local authorities and weather experts are urging the public to take precautionary measures in view of these weather forecasts. It's also worth remembering that the Tej recently changed from a cyclonic storm to a depression as it moved towards Yemen over the last 24 hours. This transformation has raised concern about its impact on the coastal regions of Djibouti, as the cyclone's remnants have moved toward the Djiboutian coast. Today, the center of the low is located around 110 kilometers west of the Al Ghaida in Yemen, moving at a speed of 39 kilometers per hour towards the west-northwest. According to the weather forecast, it is very likely that the low will weaken further over the next 6 hours to become a well-defined areas of low pressures. The Gulf of Tajora was today the scene of a moderated earthquake measuring 4.6 on the Richter scale, recorded by the Alta Geophysical Observatory. The earthquake was volcanotectonic in nature, and residents of Djibouti City felt significant tremors. The epicenter of these tremors was located approximately 20.5 kilometers north of the Djibouti city, at a depth of 6.0 kilometers, placing the point of origin at a hypocentral distance of approximately 21.5 kilometers from the town. This proximity amplified the macroseismic intensity, reaching a scale of 5 and 6 in the areas closest to the epicenter, leading to sensations widely felt by the region's inhabitants. Local management authorities are on the alert to assess any possible impact on infrastructure and public safety. The seismic tremors are reminders of the importance of preparedness and awareness of such events in areas at risk from earthquake. The authorities are continuing to monitor the situations closely to ensure the safety and well-being of the residents of Djibouti city and the surrounding areas. Under the high patronage of the Prime Minister, His Excellency Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, took place this morning at the Kempinski Palace the launch of the first platforms of crowdfunding, which will have for vocations to finance small and medium enterprises and startups operating in Djibouti, organized by the Sovereign Funds of Djibouti, the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Djibouti. An instrument for development through investment is launched as the country's first crowdfunding company, Inclue Fin. The event was attended by the members of the government, parliament, and the diplomatic corps, leading figures from the civil society and businessmen and women representatives from the banking sector, crowdfunding experts, investors, and young entrepreneurs who have taken the initiative to set up their own businesses. Crowdfunding is an innovative digital financing mechanism that makes it possible to solicit financial resources from individuals and institutions in addition to those offered mainly by banks. For her part, the Minister for Digital Economy and Innovation, Mariam Hamadou Ali, said that the Sustainable Development Fund, the Wealth Development Fund, is making this bold and promising investment to create Inclue Fin, a pioneer in Djibouti in the fintech, alternative finance, and participatory finance sector. It will thus contribute to the development of Djibouti's digital economy, one of the main objectives of the Vision 2035. Prime Minister His Excellency Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed said that the Inclue Fin's mission is to mobilize national investors from the Djiboutian diaspora and international investors to finance small and medium entrepreneurs and startups operating in Djibouti. Crowdfunding is an innovative digital financing mechanism that makes it possible to solicit financial resources from individuals and institutions in addition to those offered mainly by banks. The Wealth Development Fund is making this bold and promising investment to create Inclue Fin, a pioneer in Djibouti in the fintech, alternative finance, and participatory finance sector. It will thus contribute to the development of Djibouti's digital economy, one of the main objectives of the health state, and the vision is 2035. And let listen to the participant of this event.
Welcome to the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Djibouti's historic event today, which is the launch of the first crowdfunding platform in Djibouti called Inclue Fin, which is for financial inclusion. And as of today, Thursday, 26th of October 2023, Djibouti becomes one of barely 10 or so countries in Africa that has crowdfunding services. The impact is multidimensional, obviously. But first and foremost, we're talking obviously about a tool, a collective participative finance, effectively, or crowdfunding as we call it, that helps startups, SMEs, and the private sector in general, which has to become obviously a key engine for growth and for job creation in Djibouti. And for ultimately, what we need is inclusive and sustainable prosperity. That comes with investments, that comes with economic growth and with job creation. As you would have seen, hopefully today during the presentations, we had live for the first time the platform. It's a digital platform, so we talk about the digital world, the digital economy, and this is very important.
The President of the National Assembly, His Excellency Dileita Mohammed Dileita, is heading a parliamentary delegation to attend the 147th Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union and its related meetings scheduled to take place in Luanda from 23 to 27 October. The Inter-Parliamentary Union is the world organization of the national parliament. The IPU promote democratic governance, institutions, and values, working with parliaments and parliamentarians to highlight and respond to the needs and aspirations of citizens. It works for peace, democracy, human rights, gender equality, youth empowerment, climate actions, and sustainable development through political dialogue, cooperation, and parliamentary action. During the IPU Assembly, participants will debate the general theme of parliamentary actions for peace, justice, and effective institutions, sustainable development goals, and will conclude their work by adopting a final document on the theme of a general debate. Members of the Djiboutian delegations are also taking part in the number of key related meetings, such as the Forum of Women Parliamentarians and the Forum of Young Djiboutian Parliamentarians. The Djibouti delegation also included the members of Parliament Nima Bulhan, Ilmi Mahabe, Hassan Gedi, Abdallah Rufa, as well as the Director of Cabinet Idris Hulay and the Protocol Officers Muhammad Dawood. The President of the National Assembly, Dileita Mohammed Dileita, said that the election of the new IPU President is the key event of this 147th Assembly. The members are called upon to elect a new President for a period of 2024-2026. The President elected will inevitably be an African president, as 4 African candidates are vying for the post: Senegal, Malawi, Tanzania, and Somalia. The Parliament and the IPU Secretary General signed a cooperation agreement under which the two partners will work together to promote equality between men and women in politics. In a statement broadcast on national television this morning, the Palestinian Ambassador to Djibouti, Ruwaid Abu Amsha, expressed his firm condemnation of the Israeli aggressions on the Gaza Strip since 7 October, stressing the need for the international community to take concrete measures to put an end to the massacres to which the Palestinian people are exposed. He said that the Palestinian people were resisting the Israeli occupations, which had been occupying their land for 75 years, pointing out that the Israeli raids on the Gaza Strip had so far resulted in the deaths of the 6,700 martyrs, including 2,750 children and 1,625 women, in addition to 400 elderly people. Around 18 people have been injured. The Palestinian diplomat also drew attention to the fact that the Israeli aggressions against the Gaza Strip has resulted in the destruction of infrastructure, with more than 14,000 houses collapsed, 118 schools bombed, and 12 hospitals out of action. In the same statement, the Palestinian ambassador to Djibouti praised Djibouti's stance in support of the Palestinian cause, stressing that the Republic of Djibouti was one of the first Arab countries to condemn the Israeli attacks on the Palestinian people and the targeting on health facilities. He expressed his thanks and gratitude to the leaders and people of Djibouti, led by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, for their support for the Palestinian cause, particularly at Arab League level. Lastly, the Palestinian ambassador reaffirmed the need to overcome the era of double standards, expressing his aspirations for the Palestinian people to obtain their legitimate rights, foremost among which is the right to self-determination, in particular the creation of a Palestinian state with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its capital. An Ethiopian trailer truck carrying 14-foot containers coming from the capital towards Ethiopia overturned at the National Road 1, notably at the bend of the rise in Wi'a, so the crane of the Road Safety Squadron moved towards the locality of Wi'a, more precisely to the rise located just at the entrance of the village of Wi'a, to raise inside an Ethiopian semi-trailer truck which turned at the edge of the road. The exact cause of its overturn was the non-negotiations of the band, as the weight of its 14-foot containers and the speed at which it was traveling caused the truck to become unbalanced and end up tumbling over onto its right hand side. During the operations at the crane, road traffic was completely blocked in both directions, and traffic was diverted onto the diversions road to avoid any further accidents. The semi-trailer lorry and its 14-foot containers were quickly cleared from the carriageway, and traffic has now returned to normal. Israel and Hamas. Al-Sisi urges Israel to avoid a ground invasion of Gaza. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron in Cairo. Macron addressed the Arab countries after a stopover in Israel after hammering home the messages in Jordan that all lives are equal. It was in Egypt that he pleaded for peace with a view to the creation of a Palestinian state, announcing the dispatch of the hospital ship to Gaza. A French plane loaded with medical supplies will land in Egypt on Thursday, and others will follow, added Mr. Macron, while humanitarian aid has been arriving in Gaza in drives and drops since Saturday via Egypt, the only countries to have an access point to Gaza that is not in Israel's hands. For his part, the Egyptian president urged Israel to avoid a ground invasion of Gaza. Such an operation would cause a large number of civilian casualties. Mr. Sisi pleaded it would be a mistake because it could not protect Israel in the long term and would not be compatible with the international humanitarian law. The Hamas attacks killed 1,400 people, most of them civilians, since Israel began bombing Gaza to liquidate Hamas. The local authorities have recorded 6,546 deaths, mostly civilian, including 2,704 children. For the international scene, a gunman opened fires on Wednesday evening in a bowling alley and a bar restaurant in a town in the northeast of the United States, killing at least 22 people and injured more than 50, according to the authorities, who released a photo of a man who is being actively sought. The shooting took place in Lewiston, the second largest town in the state of Maine, where the population was instructed to remain confined in the face of the danger posed by the armed and dangerous man who is still on the run, according to the police. These shootings are a regular occurrence in the U.S., where firearms are plentiful and readily available for purchase. Lewiston police said that they were trying to locate the suspected gunman, identified as a Robert Card, 40 years, whose motives were unknown. So photographs showing a man wearing a brown top and dark blue trousers, armed with semi-automatic rifles that he had shouldered, had been released earlier by the Annapolis County Police. The shooting took place in at least two different locations, a bowling area and a bar restaurant, according to local police. The Boston FBI, the federal police forces, also said it was involved in the investigations. Another shooting took place the same evening in the Walmart logistics center, according to the several U.S. media. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.